Hello and welcome to Give and Take, the positives in life. And today's topic is Crossover Yoga Project. And today, a wonderful guest is here to tell us about the Crossover Yoga Project. So welcome, if you'd like to introduce yourself to the viewers. Thank you.
So my name is Alicia Simpson, and I'm the founder and executive director of the Crossover Yoga Project. I founded it 2 years ago as a nonprofit. I've been doing this work for about 10 years.
Okay, lovely. So we've had a conversation in regards to what it is that you do, but what inspired you to do this? It's a wonderful program, by the way. I think it's great what you're doing, to be so creative in creating this wonderful project to do such wonderful work for young people.
Thank you.
So tell us what inspired you to do this.
Thank you. So the Crossover Yoga Project really empowers at-risk girls through trauma-informed yoga, mindfulness, and art therapy.
Okay.
And it helps them turn towards positive change. And I was inspired to do this work from actually a friend of mine named Katie Hoskins,
Okay.
who does work with kids whose parents have been incarcerated. And she had me come out to her camp, which is in Texas, Sweetwater,
Okay.
Texas.
Okay.
And I did some work with some of the kids that she was working with. And after I had a week with them, and they didn't really seem to receive what I was doing and didn't really show anything. But she emailed me and told me I have to share this story that I have from one of the grandmothers of one of the girls you worked with. And the grandmother wrote down that one of the girls who she had, her granddaughter, never liked to swim. And it was really hot one day and they took her swimming. And the first thing that she did was she jumped right into the water and she went all the way to the bottom and popped back up again. And the grandmother was totally surprised and amazed because she didn't think she could swim at all, because she was always staying off to the side. And then the grandmother asked her, you know, how did you do that? How did you go down and come back up again? And she said, I remembered Miss Alicia's meditation and I wasn't afraid anymore.
Oh, how lovely.
So to hear this and just to see how receptive people are, even though you can't tell, reminded me of, you know, people have different ways to receive things and understand things, and to be able to offer an opportunity for someone to be able to kind of overcome some of their fears was really very moving for me, and I just wanted to continue doing that. So I came back to New York, started working in different rehabilitation centers, shelters, community centers, juvenile detention centers, and just offering a program, teaching people mindfulness, teaching them different tools they can use to calm their bodies down when they're angry. Also giving them an opportunity to express themselves through art.
Good.
Because when people have, sometimes when they experience a traumatic experience, you lose your words.
Correct.
And you're unable to speak. So offering another modality to express yourself is really helpful in so many ways with kids.
Lovely. Actually, on that note, because you're talking about art in expressing yourself, if you can just share some of the stuff that has been done by these wonderful young people.
Yeah, sure. So it's hard to see, but this here shows a bracelet that they do. They do a bracelet called an empowerment bracelet, and they sometimes write down a word that makes them feel powerful, like blessed, loved, loving, you know, anything like that that you can think of, courage, confidence. And they would wear this and think of them, those different things.
And who created this? You were saying about giving them out. You mentioned something.
So this specific postcard, I hand them out just to different organizations to kind of introduce them to who we are. And it has a statement on the back as well. From one girl, it says, I now feel that I control me and my future, and whatever I put my mind to, I can and will succeed. And this was by a girl who was sexually trafficked, and she was 15-year-old, and she had participated in the program after probably about 5 weeks. So to hear them speaking like this after just doing this work is really amazing.
That's lovely.
And then some other pieces, sometimes we have the girls create these empowerment posters. And I've reached out to some local Girl Scout organizations. And one girl, they do something called a Silver Award. And what she chose to do was help our girls by just creating these simple messages, things like don't fly, soar, beautiful things happen to you when you distance yourself from negativity. And she came up
Great.
with all these beautiful different sayings so I could hand them out to the girls who were in the centers and the
Right.
rehab centers to kind of inspire them, which I thought was just, and she did this all by herself without guidance or anything. So it was just really lovely to see this type of connection with girls all the
Right.
same age. So these were
So very nice. So we were saying about how we don't realize how we touch people. Sometimes we may or may never even know.
exactly.
And it's just wonderful when you see such inspiration that just comes from them. They're inspired to do these great things. And it just is a really lovely feeling to have that when you see that, wow, it actually is working.
Yeah.
So now, could you just explain how you go through the whole program? You know, like how you started and each step, how they go through the program. I think
Sure.
that would be useful.
Thank you. So initially I will come up to certain residential treatment centers and tell them about what I do, just like I just introduced in the beginning. And then when the program starts off, I will go in first to whatever place I'm going into, and I will bring some refreshments, usually try to bring like smoothies, like fresh fruit and things that they don't usually have available for snacks, and do a demonstration and tell them about, you know, find out what do they know about yoga?
Okay.
How is yoga for you? What could you use it for? And then give them a little demonstration of it, and usually I let them do an art project. Usually they make like a visual board or a collage.
Nice.
Once they kind of see what it's like and they want to do it, I bring the program to the organization. And then the class would usually run anywhere from 10 weeks up to the full school year. And it's co-taught by 2 teachers, myself or another yoga instructor and an art therapist, because I
nice.
want to be able to have those, have that profession there, so in case there's something that happens or a way to approach certain art projects, I have the professionals there that do this. And then there's also a staff member in the room. The classes are no big than 10 kids, and we start off by checking in, finding out how they feel and what's going on, and not from simple questions you think like, how are you doing? But I would say, so tell me your name and what kind of weather do you feel like today?
Right.
So just to kind of get a temperament, to see where they're at. And then we usually start talking about a topic, usually something like nonviolence, or talk about how they are with their body, how they feel about their body, what bullying is like, different topics about their everyday life, but also about health education. I talk about menstruation, I talk about sexuality. And then after we talk for a little bit, we start to do some movement. And when I use the movement, the yoga that we use is more of something we call trauma-informed. And what that means is that instead of, if you're familiar with a yoga class, sometimes you're told how to go into a pose,
Sure.
what you should feel, how you should feel it. With trauma-informed, I invite them. So I would invite them to have a seat. I would invite them to close their eyes, or not. I would invite them to move into postures, or not. There's always a choice.
Nice, I like that.
So they're not told what to do. And this is a way of offering empowerment, because for once in their life, they have that choice to do or not to do, instead of always being told.
Sure.
You think about how, you think about what happened to them,
Yeah.
they didn't have a choice. So this
Right.
gives them that choice.
That's nice.
And then after we go through the class, they have an opportunity to rest. We call it Shavasana, the resting part. And it's at that point we transition to the art projects. Art projects vary from, like I showed you, to a bracelet. They paint, they write poetry. We do some theater, we do some improv.
Good.
Kind of, we make these beautiful eye pillows that they can use, that they sometimes put affirmations or sayings that are positive about themselves inside. Anything, any different way for them to learn to express themselves in a different manner other than using their words. Because as I mentioned, when trauma hits somebody, sometimes you lose that sense.
Yeah.
Your words, you lose your sense of identity,
Sure.
you lose your sense of time and place. So through all these different pieces that we put into the puzzle. Offering choice, offering the idea of centering when you do in yoga, offering breathing, learning how to meditate, learning how to find a tool that works for you.
Right, that's right.
That you can use in your everyday life.
That's
when you're
important,
feeling
yeah.
upset, you can take a few breaths. When you're feeling like you're unable to focus and everything in the world is spinning around, you know, to center down on your feet and to find your breath once again. So just really offering them different ways to cope is really what it's all about.
And so giving them coping skills. And so whether it's breathing or, you know, mindfulness or going in a certain posture or whatever, just something that if they get to that point, they have a tool to, a survival tool, a coping tool, a skill that they have. So it's fantastic.
Thank you.
Alicia, do you want to share like a really good, what's the word I'm trying to say now? You know, like something that was very like a story that you would want to share, of course anonymous, but something that really stood out for you with one or more of one of the young people that you work with. Is it boys and girls that you work with?
This specific program, the Crossover Yoga Project, is a curriculum specifically for girls.
Okay.
It's a gender specific program.
Okay.
Because we've learned through a lot of research that's coming out that trauma hits boys and girls differently. Girls are more of like the type that will kind of nurture themselves and try to communicate with others, and boys push away.
Right.
They're more hostile. I do work with both boys and girls in different areas, but when I specifically work with Crossover Yoga Project, that is specifically with the girls. But thank you for asking for that clarification.
Yes.
One, other than the program that, the story about when I was actually started this, inspired, there's a lot of different stories
I'm sure.
to share, but one that really, really connects with me as well is, there's two of them. The first one is I was going to one organization for a 10-week program, and there was a girl who did not want anything to do with the program. She would come in, she would complain, she didn't want to sit on the mat, she didn't want to be with us. She would take the blanket and cover her head or lay down and sleep. She would grumble and make lots of noises throughout the 10 weeks. So at the end of the 10 weeks, we had a show of all the artwork, and they did self-portraits. Her self-portrait was one of the most amazing, colorful, beautiful, just filled full of so many messages and so many meanings. And she really, really worked hard on it. It was something that she carefully planned out and worked on for 3 weeks straight, which I was just really impressed with that. And then after I spoke with her at the end of the class, I said, you know, were you able to connect with anything? Did anything help you, or is there anything you want to talk to me about? And she said, you know what? I'm really thankful that you helped me learn how to sleep at night, because usually I go out on the street and I sell my tricks, and I haven't wanted to do that anymore. I stay home, I get some rest, and
Great.
I thank you. So, you know, to see that kind of change was amazing. And the same thing with another girl, Ariana, who's in a video which I have on YouTube. Same thing. I had the program actually for almost 20 weeks. And she was the same way. The only thing she came for was the art, because she was an artist. But at the very end, and I didn't see her for about a year, and then I had this opportunity to create a video through this organization called Redwood Story. They donated the video actually, which was wonderful. And after a year, I was looking for people, and she stepped up to the plate and said how her life has changed because of yoga. She was able to come back and really find the meaning of what she wanted to do, which was become an artist. And she has had her work in the Katona Art Museum. She's pursuing becoming a makeup artist for horror shows. And she just really has come alive and said all of these things during the interview that I was really just blown away as she was making the video of how much it meant for her to be in the class and to see that I showed up. And then I kept I was positive, that I never gave up, that I just always wanted to see her there.
Right.
And it really meant a lot to her. And
Lovely.
again, just to see that is beautiful.
Well, since you mentioned the video, I think we'll take the time now to
Okay.
look at that video. Thank you.
In my town, in high school, everybody thought I was just a failure. If I got fed up, I would just walk out of class. I just always thought people thought that I was just the dumb one or the one that's not gonna make it.
There's a lot of girls that people have given up on, and I will never, ever give up on any of them. The Crossover Yoga Project empowers at-risk girls through yoga and creative art expression to overcome trauma and move towards positive change. A lot of the girls that we work with come from either foster care or have been sexually trafficked, or they've been in residential treatment centers, or they've been in and out of jail or in juvenile detention centers. And they're used to people putting them down. They want to be supported and loved and heard.
Before, I really didn't have a way to express myself. Once I actually started getting into the art, I would think of it as like a way of life, just seeing things from a different perspective. Yoga taught me that you can always like fall down, but you could always get back up at the same time. And sometimes you have people to help you to get back up, and sometimes you don't. Or sometimes you knock everybody over when you do it. But at the end, you always get up strong and start over. You're breaking free.
Girls start to realize the beauty that they have inside. And once they have that confidence, there's no stopping them. I
see a girl with a lot of potential. I think I'm beautiful, smart, confident, educated, and I just feel like I'm gonna make it. I have a great talent and I don't want to put it to waste.
The word crossover for me means that they are just moving forward to another place. They're crossing over to a space where they can show themselves, where it's beautiful, where there's openness, opportunities, and they can make a change in their lives and in others.
Lovely. That was lovely. It was so nice to see Ariana just transform. And I saw someone's inspiration said, I am peace. Yes, it's not that we're looking for peace, it's who we are. And so it's nice that that person, young person, was able to see that that's who we are. And so once we can understand who we are, then life becomes a lot more simpler. So that was really lovely and nice to see this story and the different things that they've done with the artwork, and it's wonderful. And I can understand, because I've actually worked in some residential treatment centers, so I know what it's not an easy population to work with. It was okay for me. I was fine because I sort of, I always stayed firm to what I said. I didn't waver. And they appreciate that. It's when you start saying, oh, I'm going to do this and don't do it, then they'll cross the barrier and then they'll start testing you. I mean, they tested me that they knew that I would say, when I say something, I meant it. And I said things very clearly. Sometimes it was coded, but it was coded enough where they, like one person say, oh, you know, she meant this, you know. It's like, yeah, that's what I mean. I'm not going to tell, listen, if this don't happen, this is going to happen.
Exactly.
And that's it. And so you have to just be firm with them, because they will walk all over you, and they will disrespect you also. So if you have respect for the cell, there's no disrespect. So I can understand, and it's a wonderful, you know, journey that you've had with these wonderful young ladies.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much. And I mean, just adding to that, it's that whole idea of creating the boundaries, the safe boundaries for them, which they're not used to.
Exactly.
So it is important, and it's hard. It's really hard because you want to give so much, but
you do.
It's when you create that boundary, you're actually giving more.
Exactly.
So thank you
and
for
they look
pointing that
for
out.
it. They really look for it. We think that we want they want us to be their friends. No, they're looking for that structure,
Yes.
for that hierarchy of instruction and leadership. That's what they're looking for. And so we just give it away by wanting to be their friends, and that's the worst thing we could possibly do.
Yeah.
So I can see that there was that nurturing part with you, and you were their friend, but you were that nurturing, and you was also that leader role that they needed to see. And so that's wonderful. So congratulations to you for that. So what do you do for yourself to keep yourself all nice and relaxed and prepared for these wonderful young people?
A lot of yoga.
Okay.
A lot of yoga, meditation.
Lovely.
And have a very strict schedule actually every morning to wake up very early before dawn, about 4 o'clock, and
Perfect time
do
for meditation.
Right, meditation, yoga practice, go to the gym, and then finish my day and devote to where I could be, because I've given myself my time. And every day I give myself my time, because if I'm not taking care of myself, you can't take care of anybody else.
There you go.
You know,
Self-first.
it's all about self-care, and
Yeah.
we're learning more and more about this. I mean, the heart pumps blood to itself before the rest of the body. And think about when you go on the plane, what they say is put the mask on yourself before you help others.
That's right.
And it's really, it's about, and people forget that because we want to do so much.
True.
But you can't if you're depleted.
No, exactly.
And it's a very important lesson for me and the others that I work with, is that I insist that they have to have some type of regimen of self-care before they go into this work, because a lot of people experience vicarious trauma and different types of trauma. Vicarious trauma is when you listen to people's stories over and over again, and it wears on you. But you don't realize it until you're staying home and you're watching TV a lot more, and you're eating more, and you're withdrawing yourself, and you don't really understand that, but it's a stress. So to really, really have
underlying
this
stress.
Exactly, which we all live with. That even the underlying stress of when you feel you just can't do it.
Right.
You still have that stress, and so I teach the people that work with me, as well as the staff that I work with in organizations, about
Very
this,
good,
because they need to understand these lessons as well, to bring their best to who they're working with, and also to continue the messages that we're trying to communicate.
Exactly.
Because if you go into a place, I'm sure you noticed this, into a rehab center, and you're giving these lessons, and then as soon as they walk out the door, they're still faced with the same environment, it's not going to stick.
No.
You need to have that continuity within the community that they're in, within the people that they're with all the time.
Very good. See, that's how I do things.
Yes.
Has to be continuity. So if I teach the children something specific, then the parents also have to be taught the same thing, so there's continuity.
Yes.
No point in, I'm going to teach this one there and then don't teach that one over there. Where's the meeting?
Yes.
Where's the gathering? There's not that.
Yeah.
So that's good that you do that. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
That's
and
really
it's about
lovely.
that. Yeah, I mean, our whole life, we should continue to, just in general.
Right.
Just everyone, that's how we can, that's how we met. It's just this connection and continuity. It's just bringing like minds together, because when we bring this positive force together, we can really do so much.
Exactly.
And people forget, because they're used to working off anger and fear. And we don't want to work off that. That's what sometimes gets us into these places where we don't want to be.
Right.
So when we tap into this positive self that we all have, it's just been shielded for so long because we've been building walls and we're trying to protect ourselves. We bring out this wonderful resource, and we can really change.
Exactly.
And you can change anything.
Right.
As long as you
So
focus
now,
on that.
before because time goes quite quickly, I want you to share how one can reach you, Alicia.
Thank
okay?
you. So I can be reached at I can help at crossoveryogaproject.org.
Okay.
We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I'm also on LinkedIn. And please check out my website at crossoveryogaproject.org, or you can call anytime as well.
Lovely, lovely, Alicia. That's great. Any sort of last minute advice you would give to anybody who's working with, children who are dealing with these kinds of crisis in their life, is there anything you would like to say to anybody who's possibly thinking about working with them or are working with
Yeah.
them?
For those that are working with them, thank you. It's a lot to take on. And please, please find ways to take care of yourself in every way, day, or form. And also, if people do want to start working with Crossover Yoga Project, we're doing a teacher training in January, 5th through the 7th at Happy Buddha. It's in Goshen, New York.
Okay.
And we are really looking for people to come help, volunteer. And we are always looking for people to help us spread this message, not just in New York, but across, and we're trying to move further east and north. So if anyone has any information they want to pass on or be a part, please
make sure you send me
us.
that information, because I will share it
I will.
on my
Thank you.
social media sites, because I think it's very good to have that, more than just the sterile. I've always thought that was good to have the teachers be taught self-care and self-preservation,
Yes.
because then they'll be better able to, because that's not taught. It's only taught about the rote stuff,
Yes.
The test, the this or that, but not the self-care. So it's great that you're doing this, Alicia, to show that we have to take care of the self first, right?
Yes.
Yes, we have to
Absolutely.
take care of the self
Absolutely.
first, yes. So we're sort of winding down. Any last minute thoughts that you would like to share?
There are thoughts, but there's one thing I also forgot to mention.
Sure.
Giving Tuesday is coming up on November 28th. So please think of us on November 28th. It's a one-day fundraiser. And all the funds that we raise that day go towards the work that we do. So that's a great thing. And last thoughts are really, I thank people for listening and for being a part of this and for meeting you. And just really just remembering to look past the negativity that you might see in someone and really try to see
That's right.
that goodness inside. And
we all have
remember
it.
that we've been through a lot, and it's just the way we guard ourselves. So
Exactly.
just to understand that.
Exactly. So very well said that we are truly good in all of us. And so people say, how do you stay so calm? How do you stay so peaceful? And it's like, because I understand that that person next to me, you, Alicia, you're my sister. And so I understand that.
Right.
It's like, so once you understand that, then whatever you do or say,
Right.
it may make me disturb a little bit. But then I said, but that's my sister, so I can't feel that way. I have to send her nothing but love, have good wishes for her, and hope the best for her. The more negative and fire I throw at you, is the more negativity and fire that comes back to me.
Yeah.
So it's nothing but love, 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 love. That's it.
Yeah.
Because that's who we
absolutely.
are. We're love, we're peace, we're all those great quality things that, I'm so happy that you're doing this, Alicia, because I
Thank
can
you.
see that the girls have benefited from being around you, and the self-care is important. And, because I'm working on that self-care too. It's very important to have that.
Yes.
Because then you're better able to serve.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're at the end. So I want to thank you
you.
for coming on, Alicia.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Thank
it
you
very
for this.
much. And as I say to most of my guests, all my guests, you will do much service to many. You coming on. And to the viewers, your level of consciousness is the gateway to the future. Thank you.